Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Good morning, I'm Carl Fitzpatrick and welcome to Business Matters. Well, my first guest, Tommy Kearns, has been involved in the world of mobile telephony for almost 20 years. In 2014, he founded Xtremepush, a global multi-channel experience and engagement platform. Today, the company enables hundreds of leading brands to drive engagement and to increase revenue. But Tommy, how did it all begin?
So I'm from Longford originally and basically got into the mobile technology or telephony business about 18 years ago. And I actually did my thesis on mobile telephony in college. I got into the value-added services, ringtones and logos. The days it was where we were selling the crazy frog both in Ireland, the UK and everywhere else we could.
You were the one responsible for that.
Yeah, well, I'm one of many. It got a good showing around the world. But yeah, so we were doing all of that and kind of all that text to screen, and it's probably Fame Academy or Pop Stars here in Ireland where the voting text to screen and all that kind of stuff. So did all of that. And then I got an opportunity to go to Jamaica and roll out exactly the same value-added services for the Digicel network at the time as a third party. We got the contract. So I ran that for about a year and a half. And then I got an opportunity to set up my own kind of gig in Mexico, doing the exact same thing. Fame Academy, or La Academia it was called in Mexico, was down there. So we did all of the TV voting and the text to screen there. I was living in Mexico, the DFA, and had an office in Monterrey for about 3 years. So yeah, that was kind of where it all started.
So you saw the opportunity then to start Xtremepush when you returned to Ireland. So what was your vision for the business at the time?
So if you think about ringtones and logos and text messaging at the time, it was very much a spray and pray kind of method. And when we started it, we came back to Ireland, and the first generation and second generation mobile applications were being built, and we had a business that was doing that both in Ireland and the UK and in Europe. But one of the big questions that the CMOs or the CEOs or the buyers of these mobile applications were asking is, okay, we've got on the mobile journey, but what do we do now, Tommy? Like, how can we communicate with the 100,000 user base that have just downloaded our mobile application? And we were doing it in sports and media and entertainment. So that's kind of what spawned the entire Xtremepush platform. But instead of coming at it in a spray and pray nature, it was kind of Web 2.0, so we could actually put pieces of software on websites and within apps, so we could actually understand or listen, as we call it, to the user's behavior before actually messaging them, which meant that you had much better communications and much more relevant communications from the get-go in these channels.
So Tommy, how does Xtremepush actually work?
So we're a multi-channel communication hub. And basically, we plug our platform into B2C brands. We're a B2B, a business-to-business supplier. We plug into the likes of the Irish Times or the Independent or RTE on the media side. And then, the breaking news that you would be getting from them is coming from our engine. So, and then in retail banking, so we work with all the major banks here in Ireland. So, when you tap your phone for a coffee in a coffee shop, you get a message or a push notification to your phone. That's usually powered by the likes of ourselves.
And when a particular brand contacts you, Tommy, through Xtremepush, are they looking to increase engagement with their database, or are they actually looking to increase revenue?
Well, the usual end outcome is it could be revenue, it could be a better customer experience, or it could be a smaller cost to serve. So they're the kind of three pillars. So we're always looking at opportunities for in banking, for example, it's helping the customer get through the digital registration gate, for example, onboarding the customer. So for example, they could be a customer of the retail bank, and now for convenience, they've downloaded the banking app and they want to get through that registration easily. We're helping them with digital nudges or digital communications to get through easier. So that's the customer experience. But equally, it could be in e-commerce. We're on a website or on an app, all right, where we have identified that you have bought the Nike runners or the Adidas runners, but we've also seen that you're really looking at the track pants or the socks. So we are recommending, you've made the transaction on the Nike runners, but we're kind of recommending the track pants as a next buy for you. Or it could be that you put the Nike runners in the basket, and we're gracefully sending you an email or sending you an SMS, sending you a push notification to say, your Nike runners are in the basket. Would you like to check out now at a 10% discount or whatever?
Tommy, what mediums do you enable your clients to be able to communicate through?
The communication channels that are in our platform are push notifications, in-app messaging, SMS. All right, so in the radio context, when you text into the short codes around a competition or someone's participating in a show, that kind of stuff. We do email, all right, at scale. We do Facebook Messenger. And we're now doing the relatively kind of nascent channels such as WhatsApp messaging and any other types of large B2C channels. So Instagram will be a big one, etc.
You mentioned the term earlier, spray and pray, but that's not the approach you've taken to identifying your own particular target market, Tommy.
No, it's not. We're focused in on about 4 or 5 key verticals. So sports betting and gaming is a very good market for us. So we would work with 5 of the top 10 global brands. Then banking, retail banking, or challenger banking, or neo banking. We work with an awful lot of banks around the world, right? Then we have, and they're all big B2C bases. E-commerce is another vertical, so helping brands identify customers from an acquisition perspective, an engagement perspective, a retention perspective, and then basically upselling or identifying new sales opportunities. And I suppose lastly, and far from leastly, is publishing and media. So that takes in, TV, radio, and press.
And Tommy, how much of a complication do the privacy laws and, of course, GDPR cause for you?
Yeah, we lean very heavily in. So we're helping brands become GDPR compliant and privacy. We help them not fall foul of privacy legislation. So that's a big USP for us because the entire world is becoming more privacy conscious, becoming more opt-in, explicitly opt-in of nature. So if you look, without getting into too much detail here today, but if you look at what's coming down the track on the advertising world, it's the apocalypse, as I'm calling it, of the cookie. So you won't be able to prospect users in a very rich way or in a targeted way in the next 12 months because Google Chrome are killing all of the cookies, and so are Apple or iOS. So that leans very heavily into an explicitly opted-in, permission-based platform where we're doing all the consent management, we're doing all the kind of the privacy, making sure that you're not falling foul of the privacy legislation, and also that every communication you're doing it in a one-to-one or a personalized basis.
That's something that's becoming more and more relevant all of the time in terms of how you're able to adapt your messaging to make sure it's landing with the right audience at the right time and they're getting the right message that they actually have an interest in.
Totally agree, and that's a cornerstone of our platform, and we kind of look at it in 3. The understanding piece comes from the data that the brand is collecting so they can get a better understanding of the user, the listener, or the customer, all right? And then so when they do decide to communicate to that user, that it is on a total one-to-one or a segment of one personalized basis. And that's what gets, you talk about, is it generating revenue? It absolutely generates more revenue for the customer, but it also creates much more loyalty because the customer experience has gone sky high because they're not getting, frivolous messages of irrelevant nature on an ad hoc basis.
You've also acquired 2 companies in the past 2 years. Talk to us about those particular acquisitions and what attracted you to buying them.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, Carl. So both companies were strategic acquisitions. One was an email company in the UK. We bought it in 2018 or acquired it in 2018. We were doing email and we were doing quite well at it, but this company, they were what we would call a point solution. They only did email, and they were doing it at scale for some very large companies, banks, HSBC, Santander, Communisys, Saga Group, and McDonald's. And for us, we wanted to, A, plug in their technology, B, get their, get them to help our expertise in our company. So that was the first acquisition, which is a really good success. And then the second one was only just done in the last, just pre-COVID actually. And we acquired a customer data agency, customer data platform agency. And what they have been doing and their kind of core competency was around collecting the data, unifying the data, and making sure that the data becomes very actionable. And we wanted to bolster on within our unified platform that I've been talking to you about. We wanted to bolster up those capabilities. So we bought that business just at the start of the year, and we have already built all of that capability into our platform, and it's going exceptionally well for us.
And whilst you bought up those businesses because of the complementary services that they were offering, had you also the reverse ability to be able to sell Xtremepushes other services into their clients?
Yeah, well, when we look at acquisitions, we definitely look at it the two-way complementary side of it. So yes, the answer, Carl, that was very intuitive of you. Yeah, so we would look, and we have cross-sale. We've been successful at cross-selling both into the email base and also into the data. So it very lends itself in the customer data platform. They wouldn't have had the channels that we had, so it lended itself well to that partnership and acquisition.
Ambitious for further growth, you recently closed a €4.25 million funding round with Beachbrook Capital. Are you going to be using that money for future acquisitions?
Yeah, well, actually, we have an office in New York. We're about to bed down, kind of put boots on the ground there before the end of the year. So we're looking to put a small team of sales and operations people from Ireland, and also we're going to recruit in the US. So we're going to do that before the end of the year. So that's part of what the funding is going to be used for. So as we can scale up the operation in the US, we have a number of large sports betting and gaming clients in the US. It's just been deregulated, so it's like a gold rush in all the states from a sports betting and gaming perspective. We're going to try to take advantage of that. And then in relation to acquisitions, yeah, we're looking for further complementary acquisitions who can fit with us from a technology perspective and also a people perspective, because we have a very ambitious growth for the business. And we have Beachbrook Capital have a facility there that we can go up to 15 million of an acquisition with them.
And Tommy, are you going to continue to invest in your own technology? And if so, what does the roadmap look like over the next 12 months?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So yes, so we kind of got three pillars to growth: organic growth, and kind of going at the same. If we keep the same growth that we've been doing over the last couple of years, we just need to keep to that growth. That will take, looking after our existing customers, looking for new customers, but also introducing new products into the mix for our existing and new customers. So we've an aggressive roadmap in product, from chatbots to, augmenting the conversational commerce. So looking at conversational commerce around different channels. So be it on the web, be it in the app, be it on WhatsApp, be it on any other type of social media platform. And then we're looking to partner to a number of firms in the US to try and kind of get better reach, because we're still a reasonably small business. We've only got just under 70 people in the organization now. So we're looking to scale that up, and to do that, we're going to need good technology and sales partners in the States and further afield. And then lastly, we're going to bolster it with good, well thought out acquisitions.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Tommy Kearns of Xtremepush, a dynamic company in an exciting space, and we wish them every continued success on their growth trajectory.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.